Hi everyone. Thank you for joining us for this just the explanation of the informal five and the question and the feedback. Please note that you just need to go through this video together with the actual answer that I'll also post on Blackboard for you. But in short, the main thing that I just saw from the submissions was to have a good look at the actual question and to see how your money actually flows into your account and how it actually how it flows out of your account. So I think everyone was quite um, had quite a good grip of how to work out your weekly value and your cumulative value. So I don't think there was a big challenge with regard to that. So it's basically just the 1 week added to the next week. So the value forecast I found wasn't too big a challenge. Some struggled a little bit with the cumulative weekly costs. And just remember, these costs is accumulated, but it doesn't flow out of your bank account just yet. It does. It only flows out of your account at the end of the month, according to the question. So make sure that you read that very well. And then, you accumulating it, but only here at the end of month. At the end of the month, this money will actually flow out of your bank account. So make very sure of that. Then, just on that, the calculation of it is you've got a 15% markup. So just make sure that you've got the calculation correct. So it's already 115. So the base cost is 100%. So you put that at the top and then you subtract or you multiply it with 100 over 115 to calculate the markup on your cost. Similar to what you would calculate your how you would calculate your VAT on items. So just make sure that you understand how that works, because if you get to your retention, it works differently. So there is just a pure subtraction and multiply your 10% that you deduct from the value. So I think this is fairly straightforward. So please note that these 2 or 3 rows is quite easy to calculate because it's the same formula that you just use throughout. But it comes here at the end of the month and your 2 weekly payments that you need to take consideration of. So if you read the question, you are paid every 2 weeks. So every 2 weeks you do a payment certificate that you are then paid for after the 2 week period. So you submit your payment certificate and then you have to wait another 2 weeks for that payment to come in. So please just make sure of that. So you've got your payment cycle here. So here is where you would put in your first payment certificate. So your first income will be based on the value that you've done or work that you've done up to this point. So you will then calculate your accumulative value on which you're going to base your cost. So just make sure that you understand that this is where your payment certificate comes from. You deduct the 10% to actually get to your payment value, and then your cost is then calculated on that. So just make sure that you understand that. So and then from there on further, it's a 2 weekly income that you receive. So you will get your payment based on the value of 2 weeks here, 2 weeks there, another 2 weeks, etc., etc. Okay, so just make sure that you do that, and then you have to calculate what your cumulative income is, because remember, whenever you're doing a payment certificate, you're measuring the total work that has been completed up to that point, and then you subtract the previous payment certificate from that. So you can see it in this payment certificate where it was calculated what the value was here minus the previous payment certificate's value, and then you only subtract the 10% retention. Very similar as what you would do it on site. Okay, and then simply calculating your cumulative value is just this payment certificate minus the previous one. Okay, so very important to note that, and then from there you can actually calculate your working capital. So your cumulative weekly cost is then calculated at the end of the month. So it's simply what is your income that you have received up to this point minus your cumulative cost to get to your working capital. So you will see you have 4 working capital calculations because you've got 4 different times where the actual funds flows out of your account. Okay, so yeah, just make sure that you understand how that is calculated. You will be able to see it on the Excel spreadsheet that I'll share with you. And then finally, just the graphs. Make very sure that you understand how these graphs are created, where I think you see most that understand it, but it's simply a simple case of just taking your values that you want to insert, and in this case we're just going to take the applicable rows, so it's those ones, and we need to include our cumulative income as well. So you select your rows, you go to insert, and you then insert your graph to be displayed. So it will look similar to this, and then obviously you can change the settings, put in the names, make sure that the series names are correct. So if you go here to select your data, series 1, you can edit by just selecting the right data, so you will see that the display will update accordingly. So most of you didn't struggle too much with this, but yeah, for those that did, just make sure that you can do this because it's a very good tool when you do get into practice. Cumulative income, here we go. So this is more or less how it will look. We can maybe just change the chart table, and then you can you play around with it. I would encourage you to actually play around with it so that you can use it in practice also, and then you can just change the line settings, etc. Okay, so yeah, please play around with this. I'll be sharing the Excel spreadsheet for you, and like I always say, if there's any questions, please feel free to contact me. Okay, all of the best. Bye.